So, our first matchup today on Friday was Rogue versus XL, and for this matchup, there is a playoff place decider. We went with the boys in blue, and they won out against XL in a very, very close matchup. Next up, we had bottom of the table Vitality taking on another playoff place contender in the Mad Lions in a very, very good brawl. We went in this one for the Mad Lions, who actually do win out this match against Vitality in a very, very clean and efficient way. And we're finally at our first Anarchy Analysis match of the week, and it was Fnatic versus Misfits Gaming in an all-out barn burner where we go for Fnatic, who do beat out Misfits in this classic matchup of the week. Be sure to check it out if you want. Next we have Origin versus Schalke, in which we went for the OG boys, who narrowly scraped past the Schalke team in a very, very close matchup. And finally on Friday we have G2 versus SK to round out the day, and we go for G2 in this matchup, in which they absolutely do smash SK in a very, very good match to end out the first day of the week. Moving on to Sunday, we start with SK versus Misfits, in which we go for the Misfits boys to continue their solid streak of games, and they do beat out this SK team pretty easily. Next up, we have Mad versus XL, where we go for Mad Lions in this one, and surprisingly, or unsurprising if you consider the actual teams involved, XL do beat the Mad Lions here in a very, very good match, one that I would recommend watching. Next up, we have Fnatic and Schalke, in which we go for the Fnatic boys to beat out the Schalke boys, and in actuality, Fnatic do win this matchup quite easily and move on into the next game in first place, I do believe. Moving on to the second to last game of the LEC week, we have Rogue versus Origin. We go for the Rogue boys here, the boys in blue. Do the boys in blue win? No, they don't. OG beat out Rogue in a very, very good matchup. And we move into the last game of the day, which is G2 and Vitality, where we go for the G2 win, and they do win against Vitality very, very well, and we finish out the LEC week with a pretty good record in predictions. We start our LCS week with a banger. We have C9 versus FlyQuest, first versus second, and for this one we went with C9. And in actuality, C9 do win here against FlyQuest, and the next matchup to follow it up will be Team Liquid versus TSM. We go for the boys in TSM over Team Liquid, who was playing with Tactical instead of Doublelift. Obviously, every time TSM's faced Team Liquid, they haven't faced their full strength squad, and Team Liquid absolutely barn-burner this TSM squad and beat them in our Anarchy Analysis match of the week. Next up, we have Golden Guardians versus Immortals, where we go for Immortals over the Golden Guardians, and Golden Guardians pick up a win here, surprisingly against a team that was in the running for top spot alongside TSM and FlyQuest. However, they lose out. As for our next matchup, it's 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses to round out our Saturday games. We go with 100 Thieves here over the Evil Geniuses, and yeah, 100 Thieves do beat them out as we head into Sunday. Now we get into Sunday's games, where we go for a Team Liquid win, and in actuality Team Liquid do beat out the 100 Thieves squad. That's a 2-0 week for Tactical in his first week in the LCS as a starter. As for our second matchup, we have Dignitas versus FlyQuest a very, very good playoff place matchup between two of the best. We have FlyQuest as our predicted team winning, and they do actually beat out Dingtas in this matchup. As for our third matchup of the day, TSM continued their trend as we picked them for the win here, and they continue their trend of having O2 weeks, and they lose out here to CLG. As for our third matchup of the week, we have Evil Geniuses taking on Golden Guardians, and we go for Golden Guardians in here. We sadly get the wrong Golden Guardians game win this week, and in actuality, Evil Geniuses win this one, heading us into Monday with the two big matchups. So we have reached Monday Night League here in the LCS, and our first matchup is a game we technically didn't make a prediction for, but I'm gonna give it to me because I did predict Immortals in my actual mind to beat CLG here, and they do actually beat CLG in a very, very good matchup. And as for the last match of the week that we have to cover for you guys, it's Dingtas vs Cloud9. We went with Cloud9. Obviously, Cloud9 were going to win this, and the actual fact of the matter is Cloud9 do beat Team Dingtas, ending out the week with another 2-0 and staying undefeated here in the LCS. So it's time to cover the results for last week and so on. In the LEC, we got 5 out of 5 on this Friday, 3 out of 5 on the Saturday, giving us a total of 8 out of 10 for the week, and taking our grand total up to 45. And as for the LCS, we got 2s across the board on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all of them 2s, giving us a total of 6 out of 10 and taking our grand total up to 33 out of 60, with still remaining positive above that halfway point. And now let's jump into this week's predictions. So let's jump straight away into Friday's game, starting with Vitality versus Rogue. This one, I've gone for the boys in blue, as this team have looked phenomenal this season, having a bit of a slump in spring last year to coming to now have looked phenomenal. Picking up Hans Sammer has done them wonders, and Rogue have just got probably one of the best top laners in the world in Finn. He's so young, and he's just carrying this team to victories every week. As for our second matchup of the day, we have Schalke versus the Mad Lions, and yet again I've gone with the obvious choice here of going with Mad. Mad are phenomenal this season, and I really want them to obviously make playoffs and have an excellent run in it, and I like them winning this game, honestly. Next up, we have a fairly easy match to predict here, Fnatic versus SK. And I've gone with Fnatic for this one. They're just far too strong at the moment. They're looking amazing every game they play, and I honestly think they should demolish this SK team. And next up, we have another good matchup for this week. We have XL versus the Misfits. Playoff contenders versus playoff almost secured team in Misfits. And yeah, I've gone with Misfits for this one. Misfits do look phenomenal this season, turning around a pretty bad summer split last year into this amazing run that they've had in this current season. And finally, to end out our Friday games, we have OG versus G2, in which I've gone with the shock decision of going with Origin here. Now, I've gone with Origin here as G2 have looked shaky over the recent weeks, and they're still a good team. Both of them obviously tied for the same amount of wins and losses currently, and I do think that Origin should pull this one out of the bag if they play it well enough, that is. So we've reached the final day in the LEC for this upcoming week's games, and this is probably the spiciest set of games for the LEC this season so far. We're starting with SK versus Schalke in a bottom of the barrel battle, and I'm unsure of who to go with for this one at first, and I've decided to go with Schalke here. They've been the better of the two teams in recent weeks, and in the last time they faced off, I do believe Schalke won. It should be a good matchup, to say the least, and I'm intrigued to see how it turns out. Next up, we have probably the easiest one of the games on this Saturday. Vitality versus XL. Quite an easy game for me to predict. I've gone with XL here. XL did get some good wins last weekend, and I'm thinking they'll continue that on to this weekend against a team that is considered an outsider for playoffs, and I don't think will make playoffs this year, and I do believe that XL should win this. Now, as for the third matchup on this Saturday, we have our Anarchy and Analyst match of the week. It's going to be both young guns facing off against each other, Rogue versus Mad, in the former rookies of last split versus the new rookies of this split. And I've gone with Mad in this one. I do believe the last time these two faced off, I think Mad won. I'm not too sure about that, but I think Mad will win this one against Rogue. I feel that there's going to be a tilt in certain lanes by Rogue that just costs them the win. As for the fourth matchup of the day, we have Misfits versus Origin, and for this one, I've gone with Misfits. Now, yesterday, I said that OG would beat G2. I've gone this time Misfits beating OG. This Misfits team have been phenomenal this year, and I think they will do wonders against OG in this match. They're a contender for at least the third place, fourth place match for this season in the playoffs. That's if they do have one, because I know that the playoffs is kind of fucked in the LEC, and they've kind of fucked how the playoffs work in the LCS for this season, but I'm not going to talk about that anytime soon. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Misfits play up against Origin here. And for the last matchup of the day, it's going to be Fnatic versus G2. The new El Clasico of the LEC. And for this, I've gone with G2. You kind of have to go with these guys. They're such a good squad. And I think that they're going to actually lose. Yeah, I just swerved you. Fnatic are winning this, boys. G2 are going to have an O2 week. That's my prediction. And you're probably wondering why. Well, Fnatic usually tend to beat G2 in the regular split, and then it comes to playoffs, G2 just step it up and beat everyone. And yeah, I think that Fnatic will win this one. Hands down, it's going to be a tilt. It's probably going to be a craps game. And yeah, let's move over to the LCS. So we've moved over to the LCS, and we're going to kick off with an absolute banger. TSM versus Cloud9. And for this one, you'd expect me to go for TSM because I always predict them to beat C9. And in actuality, I've gone with C9 for this one. I've learnt from my mistakes. C9 have just looked dominant. TSM have kind of been flopping 2-0 and 0-2 each week. I think this week is going to be the week that streak breaks and it's going to go 1-1. But who knows? As for our second matchup of the day, it's going to be Dignitas versus 100 Thieves. I've gone with 100 Thieves in this one. I just feel that they're slightly stronger in the current meta and are playing phenomenally. Yes, the meta is reverting back to a tank meta as a whole, and I just think that you've got Someday and Meteos, two really, really good tank players on your team. You should be winning, hands down, with them two. As for our third matchup of the day, we have probably one of them matches that I would have gone either way, and it's a weird one, shall we say. Team Liquid versus CLG. I'm unsure on this one, but I have gone with Team Liquid. I just feel, though, that this one could go either way. I've got a gut feeling CLG will pull out something miraculous and beat this Team Liquid. I don't know what or why, that's just how I feel. And for the final matchup on Saturday, we have Evil Geniuses taking on FlyQuest, and I've gone with the obvious choice here. I've gone with the second place team, FlyQuest. Now, we can move over onto Sunday, where we see 100 Thieves taking on Immortals, FlyQuest taking on TSM, Golden Guardians taking on Dig, and CLG taking on EG. So we'll start with the 100 Thieves game here, and they're taking on Immortals. I've gone with Immortals. It's just me thinking Immortals are gonna outdo 100 Thieves here. Even if I've said that the team that is ranked higher, Dignitas, is gonna lose to 100 Thieves, I've gone with Immortals beating 100 Thieves here because I just rate this Immortals squad so heavily that the matches that they do lose, it doesn't really matter because they're just trading wins and losses each week. They're like a one-on-one week team every week, so that's pretty good records. As for our second matchup, it is another banger for TSM. This is probably TSM's hardest week so far this year. They have FlyQuest, and I've gone with TSM here. They're going to break their streak of 1-on-1, 2-0 or 0-2 weeks by having a 1-on-1 week by beating out FlyQuest here. It should be an interesting matchup. As we move into the third matchup of Sunday, we have the Anarchy Analysis match of the week. It's going to be Golden Guardians taking on Dignitas. Now, I haven't covered a Golden Guardians game all season. Figured I might as well do one now against a team that's kind of slumped back in the terms of positioning in the league. They were obviously up at the top in the chasing at C9 in that second place, but fell off quite heavily after week 3 and their loss to TSM. That kind of put them in this sort of slump where they're kind of doing shall we say. So it should be intriguing to see how these two teams face off. And finally, for our last game on Sunday, we have CLG versus Evil Geniuses. Now, this one, I think, is going to CLG. I said earlier that the TL-CLG game could go either way in my mind. I feel that CLG could swerve everyone and pick up the win against this team Liquid, and I didn't go for them. This one, I'm going for them in. EG have been meh, in my opinion. They're not a good, strong team. Their record kind of shows that they're not doing too good either, but I just feel that CLG are going to pick up a win here and dominate this game as a whole. So we move on to Monday. We have two games for you guys. We have Immortals versus Team Liquid kicking off the day. And for this one, I've gone with Immortals here against Team Liquid. I'm thinking Immortals are having a 2-0 week this week. And you're probably wondering why. They're facing this Team Liquid. Well, we don't know what this Team Liquid's going to look like. I don't know if Double Lift is going to be starting this week and Tactical in, or Tactical's out and Double Lift in. We're unsure of that until the actual day. And I'm going with Immortals here because they're solid. They're a strong squad, and I feel they should be winning this matchup quite well, I guess is the best way to put it. And as for the last matchup of the week that we have to cover, C9 versus Golden Guardians. Now, I could have done this matchup as the Anarchy analysis, as these two were the last two teams for me to be able to cover for this season, and in actuality I've left it for the Ding Test match because it's a bit more interesting than a stomp for C9. Let's be honest, C9 are such a good squad. They're going to stomp here against Golden Guardians, who have been considered probably one of the worst teams in the league. But that's going to be it for this video. No, I won't have a standings part of this video like last week because we don't need to cover it. There hasn't been any real significant changes. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here or if you want to, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.